Nick, so good to see you. Big Social Security news. Insolvency now projected for 2032. That means your benefit could be cut by 22%. According to a new trustees report, ongoing tax revenue will only cover 78% of scheduled benefits after the trust fund is depleted. So, Nick, what does this mean? Because a lot of people assume in 2032 they're not going to get a check anymore, but that's not quite it.
Right. No, insolvency doesn't mean that it's going away. It's often misunderstood here that I'm all of a sudden just going to lose my entire Social Security check.
Right.
That's not what's happening. The term insolvency means that the trust fund is going to be depleted, and those
Mhm.
tax revenues that they have coming in for Social Security are only going to replace about 80% of their benefits, that they're currently receiving.
Mhm. For most people, though, that equals their check being less by $500 a month. That's according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. Does this mean then that we should claim as soon as we are able at 62?
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, I would still look at Social Security in your own unique situation. For some people, claiming at 62 is definitely the right idea to go about doing that, but not in every case. You still want to sit down and individually look at, is it the right time for me to elect Social Security? Not because my brother did it or my uncle, or my mom and dad claimed at 62 at their age, based on their rules at that time may have been the right choice for them. But for some people, maybe waiting until 65 or full retirement age or 70 may be a better option.
Mhm. Possible solutions to keeping the trust fund solvent include increasing the retirement age, decreasing benefits, increasing payroll tax revenue. Which, if any, do you think we will see? And then how does that affect retirement income planning?
Right. I don't think this is going to be a one size, one solution fits all type strategy here. I think Congress is going to look at this and do a combination of different things. And the sooner that they do this, the more gradual that it's going to be. If they wait until 2032 to make these decisions, obviously they're going to have to be more drastic at that point in time. But I think you're definitely going to see, increased payroll tax. We did have a couple senators, one here from Ohio, that is working on a bill to possibly do that increase. The people who are paying into Social Security now will be paying more, and employers as well with that. Obviously, looking at raising the full retirement age. I think for some of those that are close to full retirement age or already at it, I don't see that changing. For people born after 1960 with a full retirement age of
Mhm.
67, if you're close to 1960, it's probably going to stay relatively the same. You get about 10 years out from there, we'll probably start to see those numbers going up again.
Mhm.
And definitely some changes to the formulas. I think there's more means testing. People who, require more Social Security in the retirement
Mhm.
because they were lower earning, throughout their working life. I think they're going to have, those benefits. For people who have earned more throughout their working life, they could see some benefits cut in
Mhm.
retirement.
So, just to explain again, Social Security benefits are funded by payroll tax receipts and the trust fund. Once the trust fund is tapped, the government will only be able to pay benefits equal to the incoming payroll tax revenue under current law. So, that means that even if Congress does nothing, you are going to see your benefit cut. And as we know, Congress is very good at doing nothing. So, Nick,
Right.
what do we do now?
Right. So you want to still stay on top of this, definitely planning, for your retirement, not just turning it on at 62 because it's available or anything like that, but continually save for retirement and look at your individual plan. Delay that Social Security benefit if it makes sense. For some things, we also have to look out for what those policymakers decide to do. I don't think we'll hear too much about it, during this election cycle, but definitely that 2028 election cycle. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion around Social Security because for most of the people elected at that time, this is going to be a pretty big policy that they're going to have to figure
Right,
out. And to
right.
be honest, like you said, Congress doesn't want to do a whole lot about it. They're going to sit on their hands for as long as they can because it's such a political hot potato that neither party really wants to screw it up, and they're just going to try to pass it on to the other one,
Yeah.
and pass it, kick that can down the road, as they say. So
Right.
definitely looking at your plan, continuing to save for retirement and looking for other sources of retirement income. Social Security is going to be there. In all likelihood, I don't see it going away anytime soon. But the reliance on Social Security, we can do some things ahead of time to help plan for that.
Right. But as you're saying, have a plan for that now, because changes, I think it's pretty safe to say, are definitely coming. So that being said, Nick, if somebody would like to sit down with you, talk through claiming strategies, talk through, creating other sources of retirement income, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can reach out to us online, ewgretired.com, and schedule an appointment, from there, or they can give us a call, 937-498-1128, and set up a meeting that way.
Perfect. Nick, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Aaron.